Akademiks can't ride no wave.
Y'all seen this chat? This has been buzzing for a bit. They're saying that two of the convicted killers of Foolio, they were brutally stabbed since they've been locked up. One was the 19-year-old who, if you guys remember, the prosecutor saying that, hey, or actually was a jail official saying, Judge, you know, we need niggas like this. We need that sweat equity. Sweat equity. Okay. Sweat equity, Sean Gathright. This was a hilarious moment in court. Listen to this.
And based on Mr. Gathwright's age, physical abilities, things like that, do you think that the prison would benefit from him in a work capacity if he were sentenced to life without parole?
I say yes. With my experience, not only just in classification, but as former warden and even as a jail administrator, he's someone that's young, he's healthy. In reality, we need that labor, we need that sweat equity, and we will put him out there to work because we do have an aging prison population, jail administration. We have that. So we put these young individuals to work and get some sweat equity out of them since they are young and actually can do the work.
Sweat equity is crazy, but it goes to show that these guys, you know, he was playing Call of Duty, having fun, trying to be the next phase censor. Now it looked like he's going to be the, you know, the head janitor and the guy who's like, you know, who has to carry all the heavy load in prison, pause. And you hear the wardens like, yo, we need niggas like this. He's young, he's healthy, and he looks strong. It kind of sounds like slavery, which, by the way, if you know, slavery was abolished, but it was actually permitted for people who were incarcerated, who had to go through cruel and unusual punishment. Well, not necessarily that, but if you were incarcerated, you could be relegated to hard labor, which, you know, they were comparing slavery to. So, you know, basically that boy picked slavery because he hated Foolio that much. And now this is what they're talking about him like.
And I know we talk about life without parole and death row, but for our jurors' education in Florida, what does a life sentence without parole mean?
A life sentence in the Florida Department of Corrections.
Now, if you guys didn't know, the 13th Amendment of the United States officially abolished slavery and involuntary servitude in the United States, with one exception. The exception is punishment for a convicted crime. So basically, getting incarcerated, getting life in prison. And when they're talking about that sweat equity, you're now a slave. You're a slave to the institution. You're a slave to the system. And you're a slave that signed up via your actions. So, you know, the idea that slavery is gone, yeah, it's abolished. Unless you're Sean Gathright and you kill Foolio and you thought drinking down Julio at the club afterwards, you was going to be cool and playing Call of Duty afterwards. So just letting y'all know, slavery still alive and well. Okay, still alive and well. All right. Okay. Let's go back.
This means from the minute they're brought in, they're assigned an inmate number. He will be assigned an inmate number, and when he dies and leaves in a body bag, he will still have that inmate number. An inmate serving life will never, ever get out. There is no parole in the state of Florida, and they're not ever allowed outside the razor wire and the fence of a secure facility.
Damn.
So the only way that an inmate serving life without parole would leave is when they die by natural causes. And based on Mr. Gathright.
Okay. Well, look like my boy with the sweat equity might not be getting to sweat it out. Unfortunately, they're saying he might be bleeding out. There's rumors that is coming out that's saying that he and another convicted murderer of Foolio was stabbed. So Sean Gathright, they're saying he was stabbed along with another one. Said two of Foolio's killers, Sean Gathright and I forgot the other person. They were allegedly stabbed in prison, and some people actually believe that this is retribution. Okay. Seti Nash comes in and was saying, I'm hearing Sean Gathright is in critical condition after getting stabbed in prison. Okay. By the way, we also did see him take the stand after getting found guilty. this was him pleading for his life, which is, it's funny where, well, I guess it's not funny, but how Kanye said slavery is a choice? Well, this type of slavery is absolutely a choice. He could have just said, hey, I'm not going to be doing no hard labor in jail. Just kill me. And he testified at his sentencing to convince the judge to not give him the death penalty and to actually give him life. There was no other option. It was either life or the death penalty. And he testified, give me life, which life in prison, you heard what they said in Florida, is going to constitute of him doing hard labor, aka slavery. And he picked being a slave than dying. So, I guess he had a choice. This boy had a choice. So Kanye was right with this nigga, okay? Listen to him.
Were you remorseful as you were running back with that AR-15 in your hands?
Like I said, I try to remember nothing from that night.
Was it traumatic to you as you went back to the car with that AR-15? Was it still smoking? Was it still warm in your hands from firing it?
Sustain the objection.
Were you feeling remorse as you were getting back into the Impala?
Like I said, I just try to focus on today and moving forward.
You dropped the Impala, the one that had all of these shooters in it, the one that was utilized in this murder, that was such a vital cog in this plan. You dropped it at your grandmother's house in Auburndale, didn't you?
I'm here to testify about today.
Are you going to answer that question, or are you going to avoid it? Because that's not what I asked what you were doing here today. I think we all understand what you're here to do today, what you're testifying about. I'm asking you specifically about your remorse. Were you remorseful when you dropped that car off and left it at your grandmother's house in Auburndale?
I did go to my grandmother's house.
Were you feeling remorse when you hugged her and got into the 4Runner and left her with the Impala after you wiped it down?
Sir, I'm just telling you that today I would like to express my remorse to the
I
family and to the court.
I understand what you're trying to do today. I'm asking you, since you're trying to convince this jury that you're remorseful, were you feeling remorse that next day or later that day?
I don't remember these days in detail, how I was feeling, what I was thinking.
What about later that night when you went to Orlando? Were you feeling remorse when you were out partying at Club Parlay, celebrating what you had done that day?
That was my sister's birthday party.
What did you feel any remorse while you were drinking Don Julio tequila and putting that in your video and throwing gang signs?
I'm here to testify about today, sir. We've all seen the evidence. We've all reviewed everything.
Mr. Chance, it's not time for you now to make speeches. You've politely answered your counsel's questions. Can you not answer the state's questions? Is there something about my question you don't understand?
I was getting to.
I'm sorry, Mr. Gathright. I called you Mr. Chance. Excuse me.
I was getting to my answer. Like I said, I've seen all the evidence.
Well, we've all seen all the evidence.
Yes,
right?
sir. That's true.
And after all that evidence came in, and this jury based their true verdict on that, convicting you, now you're taking accountability? Is that correct?
Sustain the objection.
Okay. They went pretty hard on it. I can't even lie to you. Okay. Let's get into where this is coming from. It's been circulating the Reddit. Apparently, someone, I own rap. Let's see who that is. On rap. Who's that? So this person's a blogger. Not too sure how they're kind of involved. Okay, he does look like some Floridian YN. Once you see the hair, you know what type of time it is. Are they cool with Foolio? Let's keep, going down. Anything with Foolio? Maybe not. Okay. When did Foolio die? Anyway. Okay. But this person's saying pull through, and he has a stab blood, LOL. And he says LL6. Now, I think the little region or whatever that Foolio was repping, I think that's what they call it. So it seems like he was alluding to it. Somebody named Trapboy36 said, something got blunt, LOL. He says, get up, ghost, don't die. It's another stab emoji. It says, rest up, 6, with the blood emoji. Let's see who that is. Treyboy36. It's this guy. Okay. Not too sure who this is. But look like he's making mention towards Foolio, or at least clowning the guys who did get convicted for killing Foolio. All right. It's another person, I believe. Oh, they kind of mess with this. It's a rest up 6, and they put the knife. So they're saying that there's a lot of guys getting stabbed over Foolio's death. Let's see. So it would be these two. I'm trying to see if we have any more information about these stabbings. Give me 1 second. I know Twitter was a buzz with it. We're probably not going to get official sources on it because, again, these are inmates. This is their life now. These boys have signed up for slavery. And if the slaves in the plantation stab another slave, this is not breaking news, unfortunately. Like, that's just what it is. So let's look. Sean Gathright. I'm searching, trying to see if I can find any more people who I think they said Seti Nash talked about it. Let me hear. Seti Nash be having the tea sometimes. Sometimes people, he's hit or miss. But sometimes, he be hitting. Can't lie. Let's see what he has said about this. He be talking to a separate group of like hoodmans. So, has he said anything? The Cindy Star shit is kind of disgusting, right? We'll talk about it. Oh, he did tweet about it, but we got no more info. Seti Nash, let's look at his Twitter. He says, I'm hearing Sean Gathright is in critical condition after getting stabbed in prison. They made him shave his hair and says sentenced to life. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Okay. All right.